I've always wanted to do a video like this, but I've been experimenting so much with the engine that I just haven't had time to ever do it, and I feel like I've had this engine built like this for so long that I can do it now. Alright, so with the larger diameter crankshaft weights right here, it means that this piston arm, I call it a piston arm, it's not, anyway, I'll call it a piston arm just for argument's sake. It's going to go farther down into the crank well. Consider this a well, like a water well. Okay, this is going to go farther down. Now you think, well, that's not a problem, that's not a problem. Well, it is a problem when this is connected to the piston, and your piston skirts, which are the very bottom of your pistons, if this pulls the piston farther down, the piston skirts, or the bottom of the piston, has a very high likelihood of hitting either in these edges right here, or they can hit on the well, on the crank halves themselves, which you cannot have. All right, so that's one little problem. These areas have to be refined out so that the 54 millimeter cylinder will fit in here. The big 54s require that you do that. So then you're going to have a problem with getting close to these stud holes. Now, that's the start of the problems. Now it gets tricky, okay? Remember, with a bigger engine, you're going to have more power, more vibrations, and everything has got to be stronger. Problem is, the more meat you take off this aluminum engine, the weaker it gets. But you have to in order to fit the larger crankshaft. Okay, now, this is what else I did, which I want to show you. If I can do it here. Your crank, this might even be 3 pounder, or parter. Your crankcase, you have a crankcase. You have your right here and your left, and it's split right here. The crankcase has got to be airtight. It's got to seal together, stay together, so that you have no leaks, no air leaks. Remember, the engine is an air pump. It is supposed to suck in so much air and fuel, put it out as exhaust out of that really cool exhaust pipe that I'm going to hook up as soon as I get this ready to go. In order for me to have that done with this larger crank, I had to check these bolts. There is one bolt up here that goes through the crank halves, through this half and this half, holds it together. These are for all my friends that are not in the United States and not in Hawaii, because in Hawaii they know everything, but I've never been there. So we have one bolt right here, another one here. Here's a third one. Now, as you can see, it's got some kind of goop on it. Here is a fourth one, and that's got some kind of goop on it. If you go lower, there is one right here. And right over here is another one. Let's see. Anyway, it's right in here somewhere. Yeah. Now what I had to do was this. I had to make sure that these long nuts, and they're not stock, long bolts, would go not only into the other side of this case and hold the case together, but they had to be long enough so that they what they did is I drilled a hole all the way, let's just put it this way, I drilled a hole all the way through here to the other side, and I put some special nuts on the other side. And I'll see if I can show you that in the third part.